Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. Looks like we've got a long video to do today. A box of broken machines and a real mix match of stuff. Bosch grinders, Makita grinder, Makita hammer, nut gun, and an old, looks like Slugger magnetic drill. A few broken tools we need to get fixed up, so let's get stuck into them, see what we can do. What do we start with? Start with something simple. 4.5 inch grinder. So we're starting off with a wee Bosch. And this is the GWS 92015S. And she's sick. A sick machine that needs mending. And these 9s are a wee bit light. Good that they have the speed control. But they have a few problems, not great for the likes of grinding. They can destroy the gears inside. It sounds like that is just brushes. Yep. Now, these aren't getting an easy life. These have actually been sent in from a steel fabricator. So they're getting a fair bit of use. And that is just a set of brushes. Get brushes for that. And also that lead was never installed correctly. It's all been kinked up down here. Look. Surprised the screw didn't go through the cable. I'll just fix that as well. I'll put a set of brushes on. Now, like I say, this particular model wouldn't be the most heavy duty, but it's also not the most expensive. And on top of that, spare parts are actually quite cheap for it. So even though it's a cheap tool, it's light. If anything does go wrong, it ain't all that expensive to fix. Even just down to these brushes. These actual brushes only cost about €5. It should be all it needs. Nice one. That sounds a lot better. Get rid of that. She's cured. That's one down. On to the next. Now, next up, we'll go with the Makita nut gun. And this one is also sick. This is the DTW1001 3/4 inch Makita nut gun, 18 volt. Now, the question is, can it be fixed? Because this thing is well used and abused. Don't know what year it is, but that thing has seen plenty of work. Ooh. Let's not keep doing that. Right, she runs. That's the main thing. Brushless machines, brushless motors. The main thing is, do they actually run or try to run? A bad noise with these is actually better than no noise at all. Unlike a corded machine, you'd rather it make no noise. Brushless motor, you want it making some sort of noise, even if it has a bad noise. At least that way, you know the controller is actually still working, regardless of what the motor is doing up here. Parts up here can actually be changed, the controller cannot. So let's get on and see what we can do here. Too tight. If she's not going to turn, don't keep trying to force it. Get a good Allen key. See if you can tap something into it. I think it's just rusted. That got it. We'll just slacken them all off. They're actually not bad. That one's tight as well. Head's just rusted. It's not letting the Allen key in. No right. As long as they're started, they should be alright. This thing's just fighting me. A steel pin in here. This little roller, just to help the battery go on and keep it tight. Sometimes it can rust if it's outside in the weather. Makes it tight to get off. She's been outside all right. Like I say, a steel fabricator. So this is out putting up steel frames, and it's going to be out in all weather. So there's our problem. Bad bearing. That one's okay. That one's totally gone. Seized solid. Obviously if the bearing seizes up, plenty of power in this motor, she's just going to keep on turning anyway. She keeps on spinning. She starts rubbing on the actual housing and melting the plastic. So that is where this has come from. That's all just melted, smoothed off, melted, and extruded out, stuck onto the back of the bearing here. In other words, this housing needs to go. Have to get rid of that. The rest of it should be okay. This is just a stator. She's all rusted, but it shouldn't matter all that much. She's not doing anything, she's just creating electromagnet for repelling this rotor. There's a little bit of rust in that too, but again, that should be alright. One thing we need to do is replace that bearing. Hopefully the head's okay. We know the electronics are working. The battery handle down here should be alright. So just a clamshell cover for the body and one bearing, hopefully. That should get it running. Surprisingly enough, I actually do have a new clamshell. Nice one. Some difference between the two of them. Can't even save the sticker. Oh well, I'll give that a wee blow down and we'll change this bearing. So what have we got on this Makita? It's a shielded bearing, can't even see it. Badly rusted. Made in Singapore. What is she? NMB 607. I'll put on a rubber seal on this one this time instead of the metal one. Better protection against water and dust. I'm going to put on is going to be a fag bearing. That one's okay, so we'll leave it alone. Just change this bottom one. Now, that should be us. Good to go. Get rid of that. The old housing. Swap these over to the new housing. Just make sure that's all in. We're meshing this to 3 gears on the inside. And if you don't get them all meshed correctly, oh, would you go on? Sometimes if they're not on exactly right, this can have a little bit of a wobble to it. That's fine. A lot of people think when they buy these machines, you assume the base of this is broken because it's moving around so much. It's just that it's actually a separate base and little rubber boots. So whenever the gun's rattling and vibrating like mad, this takes the vibrations out of the battery, so you're not burning out your terminals on this or your battery. Plus the battery's not wearing out the housing as well. And if you wear out the housing, burn out your terminals, destroy this side of it completely, you can just replace this little small cover, leave the rest of the tool itself, and you can even replace the battery retainer too. But this isn't a repair to make it look pretty, this is to get it working again. Customer doesn't care if it looks nice, they just want it earning money. Now, the question is, does she work and what does it sound like? Sounds rough. That's actually coming from the gearbox. Tell that sort of whirling kind of a sound. Gears are a little bit worn, especially on that rotor, so probably just not meshing all that well. Can't do anything about that, but more so than that, look at the state of the anvil. That is completely worn out, the bronze bush on here. And there's not much I can do to save that. But she runs, she works, she'll keep this man running for a while longer. This might be a bit rough, but you're still going to put bolts on. This to fix, I'm going to have to change the actual gearbox housing. That's going to be a good bit more money. Plus the shoulder on the anvil itself may be worn because it's actually worn against the steel bush. Changing this may still leave the anvil slack. And to replace the anvil as well, you're going to be into quite a bit of money. So that we're going to just have to do for now. She's running, so all she's got. There's a new bearing, a new clamshell body. That will keep her running now, and they're fairly cheap too, so that'll just do her. It's not really worth an awful lot more. She is fairly old, as you can tell by the old body. But tidier looking. That'll do her. Now next up we'll go back to the Bosch grinders. One of these 9/115S machines. She's also sick. Sounds like a set of brushes on this too, and it is. Popped. As well as that, you've got insulating tip on the lead. So I can't let it go with a broken lead. I have to change that as well. Keep the same plug. Nothing wrong with that. I'll just replace this lead. And probably the grommet too, because my lead will be heavier. This is 2-core 1mm, but it's HO5. Stuff I use is 2-core 1mm HO7, just a thicker rubber sheath on it. Bosch started doing this with these grinders, really annoying. Big daub of glue over the screws. That out. Keep the cover. Okay, lead, grommet, brushes, and a few wee bootless ferrules. Some insulated, some non-insulated. Stick the brushes in first, get them out of the way. And because I don't want them lying on the bench, me accidentally dropping something on them and breaking them. Bearings seem okay as well. At least feel and sound okay. No better when we switch it on. lastly, stick on the plug. Now, is that sorted out? That's her. Cured as well. There's two 4.5-inch grinders. Nice simple fix. Now, next up is an SDS drill, an old Makita HR3000C. Running. That must be the problem there. Not holding the butt. Might be a simple one. No, it's not a simple one. There's no keyways. If you look down inside of here, there should be a keyway either side of there. All you can see there is the ball and the pin. In other words, that tool holder's gone. It's not going to hold the bit. There's no keyways. Even if you got it to go on and stay on, as soon as you start drilling a hole, the bit's just going to start spinning around. So it needs a new tool holder. Right, what to do? Which way is this one again now? A lot of modern ones you can actually just take off the sleeve and there's a few pins. You can pull out the pins to actually remove the tool holder. This has the same setup. The pins, instead of being in here, are actually back here inside the hammer pipe. So there's not much I can do. Have to just strip it. There's no quick way out of it. Get on and just get on with it. Take this off. Get a ruler on there. So this actual housing, you get over this lip. Otherwise you're trying to pull it off and lift it up at the same time. Get rid of that. See if we can do this without dismantling the whole tool holder. But because we have to pull it out a little bit, I'm just going to clean this down a wee bit first, just to make sure nothing gets into the gearbox. Doesn't have to be spotless, just a quick wee clean. Now, don't want to be taking the motor out of it, or this head off. Hopefully don't have to take out the piston. Dismantle this tool holder first and see how far we have to go. oil seal for keeping the goo inside. Need a bit of heat. Use the vise. There we go. Clamp the tool holder in the vise. You can pull back in the machine as much as you want then. Give you a bit more leverage. That's me still in the piston. Maybe not still in the piston. So I don't know now if I'm still in the piston or if I've pulled it out. What can you do? Can't take the risk. Take it out. When we're this far now, might as well just change those O-rings. Yeah, just give us a clean down and we'll pull off this bearing, get the tool holder off. That's a wee bit cleaner looking. See what we're doing. Have that circlip. That's what's holding on this bearing. Sometimes it comes off. Sometimes it doesn't want to. Get the pullers. There we go. One bearing. The washer underneath that. Bearing itself is fine, don't need to change it. Now, this is a modern tool. The pin's over here, but she's not a modern one. A lot more work in older tools. Just give that another wee clean. Get the tool holder off. Got 4 pins. Take your tool holder out. There's something else going on in here as well. More problems. That there is a metal bump, metal washer this side, a rubber bump stop on this side. Fits here between the actual striker pin and the tool holder. That's perished, so that's going to have to be replaced as well. It's probably the inside of this is so black. Okay, We're getting closer. One tool holder and one rubber ring. There's the old one. Steel this side, rubber this side. See, that one's been completely eaten away. Get rid of that. We'll fit this one. Now for reassembly, you can see down in there, there's two kiwis in this one. These ones here totally gone. They're not a small kiwi either. They're quite thick and they're hardened steel. So it takes a long time and a lot of work to actually wear them kiwis out. That one's gone. This is the one we have to use now. Now, to rebuild, just make sure you get this step right. This rubber ring, steel side, goes onto the striker pin. Then this steel ring here, the smooth top, sandwiches onto that. And this steel ring goes on that way with the shoulder sticking back. Shovel that into the tool holder. Marry them up. Put your roll pins back in then. Lock it in place. Anything else then, just go on in reverse order. And this wee light O-ring then to hold that whole assembly together. Last thing here, this wee rubber ring sits down there. Steel washer, and your bearing over the top. Press that on. There's your circlip. That's that assembly ready to go. At the one side. I'll tackle this. Because that part is broken, that wee rubber washer, I'm going to have to clean this part out as well. Not much point in putting clean fresh grease onto only one part and the rest be all dirty. Oh, wrong one. That's not right. More problems yet. Look at that. Just turned brittle. Question is, can I get that back out again? There it is. That gets rid of that. I have to wash this out anyway, so we'll do that on the parts washer. I'm just going to leave the motor alone because the motor's running fine. Yeah, I just give that a wee clean too. This thing's just turned into a mess. That was a push to find them. 2 O-rings and 1 top cap for holding on the grease. Had to search the entire workshop to find that there. Must be about 10 or 15 wee red boxes for random spare parts. Eventually found one. That's the last one. These are the last O-rings too. Had to get them out of a different box for a different model of Makita hammer that uses the same O-rings. None of them left now either, so I must get them ordered up again. That would have been annoying to have to shelve this to wait for parts to come in. At least now we can get this finished, as long as we don't find any other problems. Oil inside of there because there's a bronze bush down in there for this bevel gear to run on. Now, piston on first. Can't get that on if that bevel gear's on the way. Get it on there. Now put on your bevel gear. Don't forget your striker or your hammer. Good all the grease on there as well. Lovely. Your oil seal on as well. Just tidy up the excess. That can now go together. About 30 ml of grease on there now. Don't forget your O-ring for this cap. Make sure it doesn't make a mess. A nice new cap will keep that grease on there. Ball on first, and this ring steel sleeve over the top, pan through that, hold the pin on, use this here leaf spring, spring then for that, sleeve to hold it down, clip to hold that down. That's just to stop it coming up too far. That on there. Second spring on top, sleeve over that, and your cap. That's your tool holder. As always, this pin must go to the right hand side of that ring gear inside. Just line it up and give it a slap. And this one can only go on one way because of this pin at the top. It has to go on like that. And that should hopefully be it. That going on, and she's staying on. That's the original problem fixed anyway. Gotta make sure she still hammers. No bother. Lovely. That's her. Another one fixed. One Makita HR3000C SDS Plus hammer drill. That was one of the biggest SDS Plus hammer drills Makita done. Very reliable machine. Very good, very powerful, and obviously lasted quite a while. As you can see, don't even have a year on it. That's the actual shape of the machine you want if you want a really good SDS drill. The other ones with a longer body, they're good up until a point. They're nice and light. But if you want the heavy duty ones, that there shape there, this L-shaped one, that there is what you're actually looking for. These things here are just designed for hard, long, prolonged use. As you can see, that's her up and running again. Just needed a new tool holder, or about what, 60 or 70 quid probably. But then perished O-ring inside, steel ring, had to be replaced as well. The cap broke, debris inside, whole thing had to be washed out, put on new O-rings as well. Luckily, all the parts on stock, so that's her up and running again. It's not often you get an old machine like that and for repair. All the parts needed, even though there's more and more problems keep surfacing, are actually in stock. Now, on to the bigger one. A Slugger magnetic drill. What does she say? Sick. Bad with its nerves. So, bad with her nerves. She's got an electrical problem then. Reed's not looking good anyway. There's another break. I don't think that's the problem though. Let's see. What's she doing? She's got a magnet anyway. That's a start. Right, that's not sounding good. Looks like somebody was on this already. Right, that's not good. Yeah, she's gone. Yeah, that's gone. Armature's blown out of it. You can see that bad spot there when she's spinning. You can see she's raised up as well. So she's eating away at them brushes. So this is a Slugger GM201. These are an old American machine. This one here is made in Poland. Very, and I mean very good machine. These are expensive to buy, but very, very high quality. Brilliant, good quality motor, good metal frame, very good gearbox, but the main thing was the actual guide rails. Instead of being two V-tracks, which slid them up and down, that had eventually come loose, these are on two steel bars, two steel rails. So these here were very reliable and very accurate. Magnetic drills, if there's any play in the head at all, if the butt moves at all on the steel or get onto the hole, you can just break butts very easily. The actual mag drill butts, very good quality, very hard and very sharp, but also quite brittle. So if there's any play down here, you can break butts very easily. And they're not something you want to be replacing very often because they are quite expensive, especially the bigger ones. So these machines here were brilliant for that. Very little play out of these rails here. That's why boys actually like them. Cost about £1,000 back in the day probably. But you got your money's worth out of them, that's for sure. As you can see from this one, she's done plenty of work. Problem now is you don't get them anymore. Slugger's gone. But you can still actually buy a very similar machine. It's not called Slugger anymore. They're now called JEI. They're a company in England. They have the rights to them now. So you can still get parts for this, and you can still buy this type of machine. It's just not called Slugger anymore. They're actually called JEI. I think the actual model number of it is still JM201, but they call it a Money Beast as well. So if you look for JEI Money Beast, you'll actually find these here. Now, when these were Slugger, they were a very expensive machine. I think they were roughly about €1,000 or so. The ones you buy now, this JEI company, the Money Beast, you can actually pick them up for about €500 or €600. A lot cheaper to buy, and you can buy all the parts for it. So this actual Slugger one, I can actually buy the whole motor unit, this entire top section, with the housing, field, armature, brushes, all on it. Buy all that there, or I can just buy the individual armature and brushes on their own. Both are interchangeable with this machine. They're the exact same. But because you can actually buy this for about €500 or €600, it's generally not going to be worth it anymore to fit a new motor into it. I know from the past, to actually fit the armature and brushes on this on its own, you'd be looking about 300, maybe 350. To change the whole motor unit, this entire block, costs about 400. Not much difference in price. If you were doing it, you would obviously just change the whole motor block, change everything in one go. But at that, €400 for the repair, €600 for the machine. So no brainer, you would just go for a new machine. It can be fixed, but generally it's going to be more beneficial in the long run to actually just replace the machine, seeing as you can still buy this unit from JEI. And when it does actually come to magnetic drills, I definitely would highly recommend them. They're very, very good machines. As anybody will tell you who's had these here Old Slugger machines, they're brilliant. The JEI ones, for the money, ain't too bad at all. So this is just not going to be worth fixing. Not at that kind of money. And not at the age of it. Sad, but what can you do? Very good machine, but you can buy it now for about 600 quid. You're getting a warranty with that as well. So obviously you'd be better off doing that. So this one is not going to be worth fixing. So we'll just leave that. I would say she's obviously had her work done and earned her money. It's just time to replace now. Now, last up out of this lot, Makita grinder. This is the GA9020. And she went bang. Capacitor in the handle maybe. What is she doing? Nah, don't see anything wrong with that. She ain't going bang for me. I'll just check the switch and that just in case there is anything. Grinders are very basic tools. There's not much to them. Big spinning motor and a switch with a lead. So there's not many things in it to go bang. Generally it'll be the capacitor and the handle connected to the switch. Sometimes they can go bad. When they go bad, they generally do pop. That one's okay. The lead's a little bit damaged, mind you. Crushed there, look. Might just adjust that. The lead itself is alright. The leads up here are okay too. Maybe if there's a broken cable and they're shorting out somewhere, can make a bang or a spark or a pop. Apart from that, there's not much. The only thing that really goes bang in them is these here capacitors. More so the older machines, ones that had old paper wound capacitors. When they go bad or get damp, they literally just make a right bang out of it whenever you pull the trigger. When that happens, the motor doesn't run. Easy to fix, just pop out the capacitor and it'll keep running then regardless. This one, can't really see much wrong with it to be honest. Leads are good, fix that there, cap's not gone, switch is obviously working. Switch wouldn't make it go bang either. There's nothing up here that's going to make it go bang. If it was an armature or a motor, you're going to hear it straight away whenever it's running. It's going to be sparking or spluttering. This one here, running no problem. So it's not the motor. Gears, maybe. She smashed a gear and the gearbox, but you would feel and hear that. Sometimes it can break off a tooth and just chew up the inside of the gears. That'll make a bang. That's fine. Maybe it was a transformer, I don't know. But I can't see anything wrong with this. Other thing, let's just check the brushes now that we're in here. They're not gone, but they're not new. Just leave them on. Just doesn't need new ones yet. Right, nothing wrong with this. I'm just going to fix that wee cut in the lead. And we'll leave it at that. So this is definitely running. Wouldn't even class that as a fix. I'm just going to write no fault found down on this one because I can't see a fault. Couldn't even charge for that wee thing. That's just me being too exact. Nah, don't see anything wrong with that. Unless there's a problem with this transformer, or he broke the disc he was using and just assumed there was a bang out of the machine. Generally, when the discs break, you'll know it's the disc. One wee test here. See if she makes any other noises. And just one other thing, we'll test the lead tube or the plug. You bit burnt there, la. Unless that was the problem and they fixed it. They're just unsure of themselves. Just wanted to test, send it on to get checked. It's the right side for me anyway. Nope, nothing wrong with that. That will do grand. There's nothing wrong with it. Maybe it's a transformer, or else maybe it's disc. That is working fine. So it's two 4.5-inch grinders fixed, one Makita nut gun, a Makita SDS, a slugger that's not worth fixing, and a Makita 9-inch that has nothing wrong with it. That'll keep this man running and working and keep him happy. That's it, folks. That's a lot of them. One slugger, not fixed. Two Bosch 4.5-inch grinders. And one Makita nut gun. Plus a Makita SDS drill, but that's outside. That's it. That's that lot of stuff done. If you have broken stuff at home, remember, give her a go. Try and fix it. If it's already broken, you've nothing to lose. Open her up, see if you can fix it. Might save you a wee bob. That's it, folks. Cheers for watching.